Hello! This little video from the library will help you as you work on Project Worksheet 1. The worksheet requires you to use peer-reviewed articles, but how do you know if you have one? These are some questions you can ask. Is there an abstract? Are the authors experts? Is the title long and complicated, and does the article have a lot of technical language? Does it include references? Is it more than a couple pages long? And finally, did you find it in one of the library databases and limit to peer-reviewed? Here's an example of an article to illustrate these points. First, we can see it is from a LORIS library database. Second, here's a nice example of one of those long, complicated titles. Next, you can see that there is an abstract. You also can see that it's almost 30 pages long, so definitely more than 2 to 3. And finally, you can see that there are 191 references. Once you determine that you have a scholarly article, you will have to decide if you have a primary research or review article. There are a couple of things to look for. Primary source articles will refer to this study or experiments, and they will include a discussion of the methods and then the results. Review articles tend to refer to multiple studies. They often include the word review, and they typically provide a historical overview. If you go back to our previous example, you can see the journal title actually includes the word review. This is a journal that focuses on review articles. Next, you can see a discussion of multiple studies, but in the past tense, so it is providing a historical overview of the research. Finally, you can see that it is looking at that overview here in this final statement. Here's an example of a primary source article. You can see it refers to the current study and a series of experiments. The next several lines refer to the method and results of the experiments, so you know you have a primary source article. Now that you know what you're looking for, the next step is to find the articles. The best way to get started is to go to your research guide for this class. You can find that by clicking the Library Research Guide link next to the little puzzle piece icon on your course eLearn page. Alternatively, you can go to the library homepage at library.loris.edu and click on the Research Guides link. Enter the name of your course in the search box like this and click on the link for your course. The main tabs you will use on the guide are Find Articles. You can also review scholarly and popular articles, and then there is Citation Help when you get to the end. Also, remember the librarians are here to help, and there are multiple ways to contact us. Once you click on the Find Articles tab, you will see a list of databases. These three will be the most helpful. You all likely have used Academic Search Complete. The most important thing to remember is that once you know how to use one database, you know how to use them all. They all work basically the same way. You enter keywords and then select options to limit your results. We will start with PsycInfo. With all our databases, once you click on the link, you will have to enter your login information. Next, you enter your search terms. Remember, you want to include your behavior and then the region of the brain or neurotransmitter you are investigating. One way to focus your search immediately is to change the drop-down menus from Anywhere to Abstract. You can see we received over 16,000 results with our initial search. That's way too many. We can narrow that down with the limit options on the left. First, limit to peer-reviewed, which is necessary for this assignment. Next, limit to scholarly articles, if that is still an option. You can also limit by publication date, either the last 5 or 10 years. Even this, though, may not narrow my results enough, so I may want to add additional search terms. For instance, instead of just memory, I could search for short-term memory. With this change, there are now only 175 results, which is much more manageable. It is important to remember that there is some trial and error involved in finding search terms that will lead you to the most useful results. Also note that I put short-term memory in quotes, which indicates I want to search for that exact phrase, not just those words in any order. As I scan through the results, I look for titles that appear relevant. In this case, the first one looks interesting, so I'll click on the title to get more information. Next, I review the abstract and decide if the article is useful to my research. It is also helpful to note the subject terms that are included. These can give additional ideas for search terms. If I decide I want the article, I would look for the PDF, but this doesn't have one. I would then need to click on the Check for Full Text or Request through Interlibrary Loan link, which will check to see if this article is in another library database. It turns out it is not, but there is a link to Request through Interlibrary Loan. Just click on that, indicate the date you need it by in the form that appears, and hit Send. This will create a request that we'll send to libraries throughout the country, and then when possible, they will send us a PDF of the article for you. It takes an average of 2 business days to receive something, so make sure you allow enough time. We advise you enter a date of at least a week later if you have no preference. When the article arrives, you will receive an email telling you how to access the article. In addition to PsycInfo and Academic Search Complete, PubMed is another resource that will be quite useful for this assignment. This is actually a public database provided by the U.S. National Library of Medicine at the National Institute of Health, rather than one we subscribe to, so there are a couple features that are a bit different. One of the main differences between this and other searches is that instead of multiple boxes to enter each search term, you enter the search term and then click the Add button. Similar to what we've seen before, you can still narrow your search from anywhere to a particular part, like the abstract and title. I can repeat the search I did in PsycInfo. Again, notice I used quotation marks to search for the exact phrase short-term memory. You can see I received 808 results, but that again I have options for limiting this. Some are similar to what we have seen before, like date, but notice I can also limit by type of article, like review article or clinical trial. Also, I have 2 options for full text, general and free. As you will soon see, PubMed doesn't really have its own content, but links to other websites, some of which will provide the articles for free and others not. Scrolling through the results, I noticed several of the studies were done on mice or rats. I can eliminate those by adding not mice, not rats to my search. Once I see an article that looks promising, I click on the title. First, there's a link to the full text article. We will look at that more in a minute. Second, notice the Cite button. This again is common to most databases and can provide a helpful start to your citation. But because they are computer generated, you will always want to check them. And finally, I have a number of options that can lead me to additional articles that may be of use. Similar articles is self-explanatory. Cited by refers to articles that have cited the current article, so it would be newer research. References refers to those articles this present article has cited, so previous studies. MESH, or medical subject heading terms, are hyperlinked subjects similar to what we saw with the PsycInfo example. The link to the full text often takes you to a different website. Sometimes the PDF of the article is difficult to find here, so you'll need to look around a bit, but in this case it is obvious. Sometimes when you click the link, it takes you to a site that requires you to pay for the article. Remember, if an article is not free, interlibrary loan is an option. Simply copy the title of the article and open up a new tab to return the library homepage. Then click on the Interlibrary Loan tab and enter the title in the search box to see if the article is in one of our other databases. This one is not, but as you can see, I can easily request it. Finally, again, remember your Loras librarians are here to help. You can email us, chat, or make an appointment.